It's a black hole sucking you in. The days when life feels heavier than it should, and putting one foot in front of the other becomes the goal. Because even though you're overwhelmed, you're determined to keep moving, perhaps barely, and perhaps not in the direction you know you should be headed, but somehow you're still moving. That was me one morning after getting out of bed and choosing the sofa over the gym. The tank wasn't empty, but I chose to see it that way, that there were only fumes. I wasn't wrong, but I wasn't right either. And that was why I couldn't tell whether that decision to rest helped me or set me back. Because when you're at a real low point, when all you can do is live in the struggle, the hope you're holding on to is the hope that the only direction left is up. It's your Rocky Balboa moment that just won't end. No resolution, no triumph, just more days, more months, more years of trying not to slip back into a life that drains you. And then you're asking yourself, what do I need to do today to shift where I'm going? What do I need to choose that will lift me up tomorrow? How do I keep going when worry keeps trying to take the wheel? I'm asking those questions too. Because I'm living in my struggle and trying to find my way through. And becoming the version of myself that I need to be, it's a lot harder than anyone tells you. Especially when you know, like I do, that the person you are right now isn't enough to carry you where you want to go. Because it's hard to keep your promises to yourself when no one else believes or understands, when there's no applause, when you can't see the results of the efforts you put in day after day. It's hard to live in that silence. It's even harder to keep going. But I also know that in that silence is where you must change. Not someday, today. Not for recognition or gold stars, but for how you know you'll feel when you finally become the person you said you would. Not when it feels convenient, now, as you stand in the hinterland of despair. And that change, as uncomfortable and painful as it's going to be, isn't about punishment. It isn't about guilt. It's just one more sucker-punching speed bump nudging you, not so gently, out of your life of languishing and towards the life you say you want. It's so simple, yet so many struggle, myself included, to actually change because we can't pry ourselves out of the foothold trap of comfort. But if you want a different life, you need to make different choices today. And you shouldn't need to force yourself into them. They should be rooted in how you see yourself and in who you're becoming. And don't neglect the environment of your becoming. See it as an algorithm. What you surround yourself with shapes you, whether you realize it or not. Your job, your family, your friends or spouse, they can, in part or in whole, be the environment keeping your algorithm stuck. Maybe it's a friend's drinking. Maybe it's your partner's lack of drive. Maybe it's your mother's nagging. They can be the things that don't align with where you're trying to go. I've been there, in that small space with the energy that fills it. It seeps into my head, and avoiding the impact it has on me would be dishonest. It isn't negative in a moral sense. It's simply a way of living I'm no longer choosing. I'm trying to build discipline, clarity, and purpose. And that's hard to do when you're struggling to reconcile that with energy that pulls you in the opposite direction. Just like me, you have people in your life who fall into that same category. People who still want to live in the past, who want someone to blame, who want old wounds reopened so they don't have to move forward. You can see that you've been heading in different directions for a long, long time. Now you're at the crossroads where you're finally owning that you can't carry both your future and their unresolved stories at the same time. And I'm no longer going to feel guilty about that. Not when I'm trying to take responsibility for my life. If they're still looking backwards, let them. Because neither of us have to keep matching that pace out of habit. Think back to me talking about skipping the gym, because the message is inherently the same: regret. What regret will you choose? Because if you stay where other people are, if you do what other people do, will you regret the life you never lived? Imagine the cost of that decision, because it has the power to change not only the rhythm of your day, but the rhythm of your life. It's the moment when you decide, finally, to take control of your headspace, to not let guilt, regret, shame, other people's opinions claim your day so that you can go and win it again and again. I know that sometimes it feels impossible, and everything in our life is telling us that it's impossible. But it is never, never too late to turn things around. I have that ability, and so do you. What we need to do is reach for it instead of letting disappointment run the narrative. Because the decisions you make shape your life and who you become. In the midst of my struggle, I see how some things I care about have faded out of my life. Reading, running, a joy of cooking and baking. Things that used to make me feel proud, centered, and alive. I need to bring them back to anchor myself. Are there things that have quietly slipped unnoticed from your life? Yes, decisions shape your life and who you become. And even in chaos, recognize your wins. I've made significant improvements in limiting my sugar intake. It sounds small, but it matters to me because it reminds me of how I can still steer my life in the direction I want it to go. And so can you. That's how change begins. Not in the grand gestures, not in the dramatic declarations, but in the quiet decisions you make one day at a time. Decisions that seem insignificant until you realize they're the foundation of everything. And when you're rebuilding from a low point, just like I am, and it's uncomfortable, remember that it's not comfort we're after, it's momentum. We're looking for the life that reflects the work we've been putting in. Yes, I know it's painful, but we must both begin by owning where we are. And when we do that, we get to choose what comes next, not let someone else dictate it for us. We can refuse to let one difficult day write the ending. One win is enough to start the shift. It was sugar for me. Maybe for you it was getting out for a walk. Today, for both of us, it can be something else. And tomorrow will be shaped by what we do right now. I'm still going, and so are you. That's the point, even from the bottom. Especially from the bottom. Because when everything feels like it's falling apart, every small step forward is a quiet declaration. A reminder that I'm not done yet, and neither are you. That I still get to rise, and so do you. That this version of me is not the final one. That your version of you is not the final one. And I'm choosing to rise. One choice at a time. And so can you.